Here are some tips for any type of player in GTA Online, where wasting time is wasting money, so let's get started.
I got hairy legs.
Tip number 1, don't trust the waypoint too much. The waypoint on the minimap is very helpful in most cases, especially when first learning the layout of the map. However, unlike your character, the waypoint follows most traffic laws and will give you the fastest, safest, legal route to your destination. Safe? Legal? Say it with me now.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Fuck the civilians, fuck the other drivers, you pay your taxes, you paid for these roads, you're gonna use them. This is especially important near the areas with the spaghetti highways and exits and overpasses like near the airport. Lots of shortcuts exist that I'm still finding 10 years later, so try to keep your eyes on the terrain and not your minimap. If you're a fan of doing contact missions or heists, do remember that you can bring certain rocket-powered or weaponized vehicles. Obviously, the armored Kuruma is a great lower-level car for missions like this, but many people forget to take out their Vigilante as well. Maybe it's because Rockstar removed the option to use the Toreador for heists in certain other missions recently, which would be the better option since it did have explosive resistance, but the Vigilante's boost is incredibly useful and is more speed efficient compared to the Toreador. Another thing to note is that the Oppressor Mark II is also available for certain missions, mainly the OG style contact missions like Trash Talk. This can make quick work of whatever the mission asks of you, just make sure to complete it within the 4 to 6 minute window for the optimal payout. Speaking of contact missions, there's some that operate a little differently to others. Jobs like the ones from ULP and the First Dose missions have a level 100 payout but are available at level 1. These are great opportunities for new players to get their foot in the door with some money to fund their businesses with relatively easy work, not to mention the first time bonuses of each mission that can pay a hefty amount. And since you don't have to worry about being a minimum level to start the missions, you only have to worry about surviving and bringing in the right equipment. Obviously, you can head to Ammunition, buy some new weapons if you've reached the required levels, but heading to the gun van could be a better option. With a new location and new stock every day, you have a pretty good chance of finding some higher tier weapons like the heavy sniper and laser minigun. And if you're worried about purchasing ammo, you can always buy it from the interaction menu. And while you're in there, you might notice the armor and snacks menu too. This is where I always used to go to heal up, but I completely forgot until recently that you can do this much quicker through the weapon wheel. It also takes only the good snacks, so don't worry about downing a pisswasser mid-battle or lighting a smoke. Sadly, this is only applicable when on foot since there is no weapon wheel while inside a vehicle, but it saved my life countless times since I've started to remember this. One thing that isn't perfect is that you can't pick what kind of armor it consumes for you, and the best way to avoid this is to just never buy low-tier armor. I don't know about you guys, but I was super confused for the longest time why I couldn't buy more than one heavy armor in the Ammunition. I found out it's because I never used the lower-tier armors that were given to me as event gifts from Rockstar, and then once I realized you can only have 10 armor things in total, it made much more sense. If you're still confused, just use up all your bad armor and only buy the heavy ones from now on. Small tip for controller players is to change this setting under gamepad. Tapping A or X to sprint is very annoying and not good for your controllers, so unless you're a psychopath, please turn this off and enjoy sprinting without the sound of constant clicking from your controller. One more towards the lower level players is remember to work on the collectibles like the playing cards, signal jammers, and action figures. There are plenty more out there and most of them give a small amount of cash and a good amount of RP, usually around 1,000, which can end up being pretty good for just collecting something from off the map. And if you go for all the collectibles right from level 1 like Dr. Crush did, you'd be about level 47 with around 600k in cash after about 10 hours. Not great for money, but pretty alright for leveling up just collecting stuff. Something weird that's always been in GTA Online as far as I know are the busy contacts. For some reason, if you're sprinting and make a call to someone, they'll either give you the busy message or the phone will hang up. This might be a PC exclusive thing since you can't sprint while on the phone on controller, but I'm not 100% sure. You can easily avoid this by letting go of the sprint key for even half a second and the phone will reset its call and eventually work fine. But this does get extremely annoying if you're in a hurry to get somewhere, and most of the time I always forget and let it get too busy. And while we're talking about the phones, make sure to clean up your contact list. This makes it much easier to get to your mechanic or Moore's Mutual or whoever you have to call in the moment. I removed the players and most other junk contacts except for a few like Mutt for acid supplies, Assistant for impounded cars, and a few others like that. A key memory I've applied to plenty of missions in GTA Online is using the underground and tunnel areas to lose my wanted level. During setups and certain missions, calling Lester to remove your wanted level isn't allowed, and oftentimes it can be pretty tough to shake the cops before moving on to the next objective. If you happen to have 3 stars, losing the helicopter could be even harder. Thankfully, police have no idea how to drive in underground areas like this place by the sewer or on certain train tracks. Shortly after entering the area, it's as if an invisible wall appears for the police where most of the time they just refuse to enter. And sometimes they might give no fucks at all and follow you for a little bit before binning it and getting on foot. After some time though, they will leave you alone and you'll be able to move freely. Last tip is nice and easy, and that's just to pay attention to the 2x and 3x money events. Each Thursday there's an update and there's usually a couple of things that have bonus money applied to them. Sometimes these can be businesses and activities that can be insanely profitable during the event. Things like auto shop contracts, heists, and certain contact missions are very good, while other things like races and death matches and low tier game modes are not very good. Which is quite sad because I love stunt races especially, but even with 2x or or even 3 times money, it's still not good enough to focus your time on it to make money. I'm working on a big video that'll cover each money method though, so if you're interested, stay tuned by subscribing. Like the video if you enjoyed, of course. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the list and if you learned anything new. That's about it. I'll see you all later.